Andy, you get the first question, all right?
All right.
Hold it.
All right. What do you got? Grab her. Come on, sweetie.
There you go. Yeah, I heard that before, yeah.
What do you got?
Okay, first question comes from Andy. Andy, where are you from?
Maryland originally, and now I'm in Florida.
Okay, Andy from Florida, Maryland. What's your question?
What is your opinion of why, y'all got into the big discussion and said you weren't going to get into it, why hardening, or should I say the blast freezer is not necessary over a regular freezer?
You know, we've got this on 100 videos.
Let me start. Steve, years ago, we were having a discussion in the Q&A, and somebody mentioned the hardening cabinets, and Steve answered by saying, you know, I can make ice cream at 12:30, and 12 hours later, I can sell it just by using my hardening cabinet. And my response was, you know, Steve, that's interesting. I can make ice cream at 12:30, and by using a $140 Sam's Club freezer, I can sell it 12 hours later.
We're not going to get into this subject because we've done it 100 times on videos, and I'll be happy to explain it. It's all about the makeup of the business. It's not how you treat the ice cream. It's how your business is set up. Are you selling what you made today? Are you selling it in 2 weeks from now?
You shouldn't have to sell what you made today.
So you can see we're not going to discuss it. It's not worth it.
I mean, for 10 years, what I make today, I sell tomorrow. It's kind of, okay, we won't get into it.
We won't get
Steve,
into it.
you had a question.
And don't be about hardening cabinets.
Hi, buddy.
No, it's not about hardening cabinets.
Hi, buddy.
I figured what it was. Next question.
What was your question?
I can't think of it right now.
I remember what it was.
What was it?
You wanted to know how to clean the machine.
Right, okay, so now I'm making a product, right? And they have particulates, so
That's chocolate chips. and nuts.
Inclusions, right.
inclusions, right?
Fancy words.
And so I'm going to take a gallon of water and I'm going to put it in the machine and I'm just going to run it out once. Right?
Sure. But that's a rinse.
That's the rinse.
Now, when I make ice cream, I plan out 6 or 8 flavors that I'm going to run.
Right.
And I try to put them in. Look, we know raisins are the last thing you make because you don't want an errant raisin finding its way into vanilla ice cream. People think you got a bug in there.
Right.
So raisins are always my last ice cream. Coconut is always second to last because those coconut flakes find their way everywhere. I use real coconut flakes. Then we get into chocolate chips and cherries and things like that. But as we said before, it's okay to go from making chocolate ice cream to vanilla ice cream. It's not going to matter because the amount, Steve's machines, and again, I don't get paid for this, but the cylinders, you see the cylinder there? That's from a 24 quart. They're canted. 5 degrees, Steve?
I don't know the exact amount, but it will drain.
They're canted so that when you extract the ice cream, pretty much everything's coming out. And if you saw what I did here, if you let it sit for 5 minutes while you're preparing other things so that the ice cream that's in the cylinder and the blades melts a little, just turn it on. And it'll push out everything else that's left in there. Finally left in there, I would say, is maybe an ounce, maybe 2 ounces of chocolate. So you put that against all the vanilla that you're going to make, you won't notice any difference. Of course, that's not to say you can't, you can rinse it. It's fine. I don't rinse because I always feel that I don't want that water in there. I'd rather have chocolate cream in there than water in there, even though you're getting out 98% of it. Okay.
So rinsing is
Rinsing
simple.
is fine. It's simple.
very large openings. If you've ever run a soft ice cream machine, this is not it. A soft ice cream machine takes 40 minutes at the end of the day. So don't ever think about ever buying a soft ice cream machine unless you want to say, okay, our store closes at 10:30 tonight. You will be there till 11:30 because it takes that long to clean it. It's
And a full
nightmare.
breakdown of these machines, a full breakdown at the end of the day is less than 10 minutes. And I know this because I do it every day. 10 minutes, you're done. From the last batch of ice cream till you're wiping your hands and walking out the door. And that includes a quick mop of the floor.
Okay, so the steps when I'm cleaning it at the very end, I run like a gallon of just water through it.
Well, I'm glad you
Then
brought that
I take
up.
it apart and
Well, here's,
everything.
I just discovered, Steve and I talked about a week ago, I just discovered something after 10 years, a tip on the machines. I make ice cream with alcohol in it, some of them. Some have alcohol. But regardless, I work it so much that it freezes. It gets real cold, and I want to go out and have lunch after my last batch. I don't want to dally. So sometimes, and we noticed it yesterday, right? It was hard to open it, remember? It was frozen a little bit. So I thought about it, and normally you put a 3-gallon tub of water through the big machine and rinse it. So I thought, well, let's do that, but then let's take a 3-gallon tub and fill it with tepid water, a little warm, a little bit on the warm side. I don't know if other machines could handle it, and I didn't call him first, but I did it. And I ran it for longer than the normal rinse. I ran it for a minute, a full minute with hot, sloshy water going through it. And then I extracted the water as it's coming out. I opened the nuts on the machine, and bingo. No problem. So I do now a double rinse, the second one with warm water. And then it's simple. As the water's coming out into your 3-gallon bucket, take out the blade assembly, put it in the sink, a rinse on those, I don't know what they're made of, but it's like from Krypton. They just rinse right off, those blades, and put the springs in a little 1-quart jar. Am I overstepping this?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Put the springs in a 1-quart jar with the knobs from the machine, take the collar off, which is the part that holds the blades to the door, and put it in there. Put some soapy water as you're working, take the bucket, empty it. We did all this, right? And it took like 8 minutes. It's nothing. And then wipe it around, and this is just wiping with water. You don't need stainless steel polish, you don't need chemicals, you don't need cinch or Mr. Clean, just a damp rag. And this stuff gleams, it glistens. And give it a wipe out, and then I take the door off every time, which surprised Steve. I guess most people don't take it off. I visited a cream ice store who had 244 emeries. That door had never been off. And it's you get skeeved out a little bit knowing that your ices are coming out of there, but that's another story. But I popped the pin, we did it, and take the door off, let it soak in the thing while I'm doing the other stuff, getting the blades clean, getting it reassembled, a little lube, and the door is then clean. Just shake it out and put it back on, drop the pin in, put the gasket back on, and you're ready to go. Literally 8 minutes.
when do I use this Sterish?
All right,
Okay,
I'm gonna take
after it's
over on
put,
that.
okay.
I'm going to take care of that
Now
one.
the health inspector, I gotta explain this to the health inspector.
All right, so I'm
No,
going to
you don't.
I'm going to
No,
answer
they
that
don't
one.
know.
The first thing is when you mention 1 gallon of water, and he says 3 gallons of
Well,
water,
different machines.
it doesn't matter. I could put a quart in there. I think I'd like a little more, but it doesn't matter. It's not like making ice cream. We're not measuring ingredients. The machine has no clue whether you just put a gallon in or if you put 3 quarts in. It won't matter. It's a horizontal cylinder. It's sloshing it like a washing machine all the way around. So don't people worry about having to measure out your water for rinsing. You're just wasting time. It doesn't matter. Now, as far as sanitizing, the idea of a sanitizer, and I use Sterashine. Let me show it to you.
That's what I got.
I got one over here. And there's a reason I use Sterashine. Sterashine and all the others are basically a chlorine-based sanitizer. Chlorine is what kills just about everything, absolutely everything. So the reason for Sterashine, though, which is a chlorine-based product, is health departments recognize it. Health departments are not terribly intelligent. They're on a par or one
Say
grade
what you
above.
really feel.
They're motor vehicles with a white hat on. They're just terrible, and so you have to know more than them. But in some cases, I have been in places where if I'm in a foreign country and I can't get Sterashine, I can use 1 cap not a cup, a cap full of Clorox bleach to a gallon of water and do what this does. But then I get the health inspector who says, oh my God, you put Clorox in your machine. I said, and of course I'm a New Yorker, so I got to be a wise ass. Hey pal, what do you think I put in my swimming pool? And that doesn't work. I've tried. So, I mean, it works, but it doesn't work with the health department. So I have this around and they say, isn't that nice? He knows what he's doing. I have health inspectors who insist that you sanitize before you start making ice cream. Makes sense, doesn't it? And after you finish. Well, what if I just finish now? When we finish today, if I was to sanitize this machine, I can guarantee you, I'm not using that machine again until February 8th. So what is the purpose of sanitizing? Because I expect that between now and February 8th, all sorts of bugs are going to come into this room. Not curly bugs, I mean like flu bugs and, sneezing and stuff like that. So what's the sense of sanitizing at the end of the day? But if your health inspector says, I want you to sanitize at the end of the day, yes sir, that's what we'll do, and that's what you do. It's what they say. But from a practical standpoint, you do it at the beginning. I know you're wasting your time.
Okay,
Because
can I comment?
No,
Okay.
not yet. Because the sanitizer is not going to last overnight. It just won't. You sanitize just before. Does the doctor who gives you a shot in the neck, does he use the sanitizer on his hands last night? No, he does it 10 seconds before he's about to inject you with the shot. Do you clean off the space just before you get the shot? Go ahead, you're wrong.
Okay. When was the last time you sanitized your coffee mug before you had coffee in the morning?
No, never.
Oh, excuse me.
Never.
Hello?
We don't sanitize our coffee mug.
Of course we don't. And what about those bugs flying around? That's my coffee mug. Ah! Here's the deal. Inspectors, and you can cut this if you want, inspectors, they don't know this stuff. They don't know. They go to Olive Garden, they go to Carrabba's, they go everywhere else. They don't go to ice cream and ice stores with super knowledge. I've seen them for 10 years. I've had health inspectors. They come in, you know what they do? They take that gun and they want to know the temperature of all your freezers. And it's a digital readout. And then they go to your refrigerators where your milk and cream is stored and they hit it and they look and they look. And you know what they do then? They have a little ice cream and they're gone. They don't know what to do. Not that there's anything special to do. It's a very simple thing. The end of the day, break down your machine. When you put it together, add a bucket of, I use a 3-gallon bucket with a scoop of that powder, 3/4 of a scoop. Run it through, close your machine, go home and get a good night's sleep. The next day, open your machine up, pour everything in, make your ice cream. You're good to go.
When you're 104, I hope your last words will be, Steve was right. Because he's just wrong. Let's move on to something more important.
And the reason, by the way, that I do it that way
no stopping.
is because when Steve does it right before making ice cream, and it's a mental thing, I just don't want Clorox in the machine 30 seconds before I'm adding my ice cream mix.
Finally, we agree on something. It's a mental thing.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, it is.
But it's still there.
Let's move on to some intelligent questions. Yes, sir.
At what temp should I be keeping that water ice froze? Like if I intend to sell that product maybe 3 or 4 days later.
15.
If you're making it with sugar, water, and fresh fruit, without the stabilizer, I keep mine at 16 degrees. The stabilizer is going to allow you to lower that temperature. So it's going to depend on the stabilizer if you're going to use one, and you have to judge that yourself.
Are you a cart business?
Yes.
Then you don't need stabilizers.
Okay, so just go out now.
You're going to sell it in 3 days.
Right.
So then you're going to make more.
Gotcha.
You're not keeping it for 6 months. Yes.
What advice do you have? This is new for us. I don't know what level everybody is at, but it's so.
We're all experts.
Yeah.
No, we don't know anything. Go ahead.
It's so different from what we do, and we have a few months before we open seasonally. So, what advice do you have to calm the fears of?
Stay open year round. That's the first
I'm
thing.
sorry, I didn't hear the last part because he interrupted you.
What advice do you have to calm the fears of? Is this going to work? It's just scary.
Can't fail.
No.
Can't fail. Think about it. What are you selling?
Ice cream.
Ice.
A dessert, right?
Yeah.
How many people on this planet? 7 billion. Can you find anyone that doesn't want to have a nice cold frozen dessert? No, nobody. Nobody. So just do the right thing and you'll be successful.
Make it clean, make it fresh, make it delicious.
And don't make lemon
I'll get to you
cherry
in a second.
chocolate. You know, that's dinosaur stuff.
I wanted to talk about this, and it relates right to it. Last month, a business called Dean Foods went out of business in Texas. They're reorganizing, and they were one of the biggest dairy organizations down there. 2 days ago, Borden reorganized. They filed for Chapter S. You know, the milk people, Elsie the cow. They claim something that's a little false. They claim that people just aren't drinking as much, and that's why. Borden's doing it because they want to get rid of 400,000 people and move to Canada because of the new trade agreement, but that's neither here nor there. But people are drinking less milk. More people are drinking coconut milk. Ice cream sales in supermarkets are down somewhat, but they're always down because they're commercial ice creams. But you listen to the National Ice Cream Retailers Association, NICRA, or anybody in knowledge of homemade ice cream, sales are through the roof. They're incredible. And part of this is because there are, Jeff and me, he's younger, there are 72 million of us baby boomers, and we love our Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry, our high-fat ice creams. There are 85 million millennials. That's bigger than us. Now, he made fun of me the last month because I said, I made up my own term. I said the baby boomers are aging out. So this time I was like, they're dying. Okay? They're dying off, and so you've got to look and see where your new market is. The new market is the millennials. And I have 4 millennial children. Right now, the age group is defined somewhere between 22 and 39. That will move. I mean, there's a lot of people who say they're baby boomers, and they're not. But those age things move. But it's a pretty good target for now. The millennials are looking at what we ate and just saying, are you out of your mind? All those chemicals, all those horrible stuff, we're just not going to do it. We're going to eat fresh food, fresh ingredients, fresh dairy. And the quality of the ice cream and frozen desserts in general has gone way up. It's much better. What we're making today is better than what we made 10 years ago. And the beauty of that is we can command a higher price. We were stuck. I mean, Rod and I would, if we went into a store, we'd tell the person, yeah, you can charge $2.50 for an ice cream cone, but don't go for $2.75. Nobody will come in. That thinking is out the window. We're getting minimum $3.50, $4, $5 for a scoop of really fantastic ice cream. And at those prices, we can afford to do really fantastic ingredients. So don't be afraid of the price. You build a great product, and people will come to you. Now, the millennials, for whatever reason, are not eating as much dairy as we do. I have said in past times that the only place that I'm talking about dairy-free ice cream, coconut-based ice cream. The only people who are going to open up an all dairy-free store is going to be in San Francisco because everybody knows they're wacko out there and that kind of thing. Yeah, and then a week later I opened one in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So all dairy-free. I personally would like to be in the frozen dessert business. I don't want to single myself down to one specific thing. So I want to have dairy ice cream. I want to have dairy-free. I want to have Italian ices or sorbet, gelato if I have to. I think it's a waste of time. But a little bit of variety within the store. What fits my market? So we've got this product that we're calling, it used to be called vegan. Vegan's a horrible term. It sounds like an old man who weighs next to nothing and you just want to buy him a good meal. So we dropped the vegan part, though it is a vegan product, and we sell it as dairy-free ice cream. That, of course, is an FDA illegal term because it's not dairy fat. But the truth is, unless you're McDonald's and advertising dairy-free ice cream, they're not going to come to your individual little store in a couple of black Chevy Suburbans and haul you off to Yemen, black site in Yemen. They're just going to leave you alone, and if you have to, you just call it dairy-free frozen dessert.
Well, they're not going to at this point because they haven't made a determination of what the actual product is.
Right.
It's not ice cream. I suggest you find another name for it. Just non-dairy frozen dessert. That's what it is.
You can do that, or you can go with ice cream because it's only your local town that's looking at it. But Rod is right.
Eventually, the FDA is going
He's correct legally.
They're going to standardize it, and they'll call it whatever they call it.
And we'll all be old and retired. Not me, you guys. I'll still be working. It'll be years before they get there. So that's splitting hairs. The point is, you've got a product that I can make any flavor of ice cream I want to, and I can make it in a coconut-based product. And the stuff is great. It's delicious. It's refreshing. I'm told by my incredibly older sister that as you get older, you can't digest dairy fats as easily. You can't sit down and eat a Ruth Chris every single night. Your gut won't take it. It takes 72 hours to cycle through you, and it's just a mess when you get older. But this dairy-free, your doctors love it. It's refreshing. It's as refreshing as Italian ice because basically instead of water, it's coconut water. So it's in the same field. It's extremely refreshing. I can get $6 for a scoop. I can sell pints for $9, $10, and the millennial age group is just buying it up. I've thought about this comment for a long time. We all grew up on Ray Kroc's theory of business. He was the head of McDonald's, if you don't know. He invented McDonald's. And Ray Kroc said the key to success is location, location, location. I think Jeff will tell you that that's so far from the truth, it's unbelievable. It's not that way anymore because now the millennials, they hear, oh, okay, I hear in Brooksville that there's a store selling dairy-free frozen desserts. Text it to me. So they text me the address, and I say, oh, that's great, I'm going there. And I text it to 10 of my friends who text it to 10 of their friends. Within an hour, there's 200 people, without me doing any advertising, that know that there is dairy-free available in Brooksville, and they're all going to flock to it. I don't care if I'm on a side street. They're going to find me. So the location of being on the best street in the richest town doesn't apply anymore. If you've got a great product, we were just talking at the beginning of this. There's a great dairy over in Boynton Beach that services a large part of Florida, and the owner and I and his wife and my wife keep meeting up by accident at this little hole-in-the-wall restaurant called Culinary Cafe. Please forget the name. I don't want it crowded. We just happen to have shown up there twice. He's driving all the way up from Boynton Beach, maybe 40 minutes. We're just 4 miles. And it's in the middle. It's in a nowhere location. But the food is so good, we seek it out. And this is what's happening in the frozen dessert business. People will seek out your location. You do a whole segment in your class about this, that you don't need to be on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills in order to make it successful. You just need to make a great product and then use the heck out of social media to advertise it, and you'll be a tremendous success.
So
incredible success.
If I can interject. So I'm not older than dirt, but I've been around for quite a while. I've seen trends in the industry. I've seen things come and go. This vegan or non-dairy ice cream or coconut-based ice cream, I feel it's here to stay, but it's only going to be a percentage of your overall sales. It's going to be a smaller percentage, just like ices are going to be a smaller percentage. The one product that's always stayed throughout history is gourmet homemade ice cream. So if you build your ice,
Yes.
look, he and I agreed on something.
Yes.
And I agree.
So if you build your business and create the best homemade gourmet ice cream, 10%, 12%, whatever it is, you're going to be successful. And then you build the other items around it, because grandma's not going to come in and have chocolate mousse ice cream, but she may have a non-dairy product. So you're not going to have 5 non-dairy products, you're going to have 2 maybe. You may have 4 Italian ice products.
But Jeff, you mentioned earlier not to mix Italian ice and ice cream in one shot. Is that right?
Can't do it.
Why is that?
Well,
Yeah, why is that?
I'll tell you.
We don't agree.
We don't agree.
We don't agree.
Well, okay. When a customer comes in and tastes your ice cream and then tries your ices, it's water. There's no body, and it's certainly not worth the cost. You can't charge the same for ice cream as you do for ices. So now automatically you're segregating your market into a $5 sale or a $3 sale or $2.50 sale. And when you taste one product, the other product just doesn't compare. Even if you're pushing it to cream ice, there's no comparison. Ice cream is the gold standard. It is it. And three-quarters of the world has no idea what Italian ices are. And if they see it in print, they'll say, Italian ices? What are they, spicy?
But wouldn't that make you stand out against the three ice
It
cream
requires
shops?
education.
Okay, Jeff is not wrong for his business. He is an ice cream parlor. He's catering to an older crowd. They are four square baby boomers looking for high-fat, or looking for a very rich ice cream. Every business is different. I cannot see Ruth Chris Steakhouses only offering a filet mignon. You know, it's nice. They've got to offer other things. I mean, my wife doesn't eat steak. She's got to order fish or pasta. If you don't have those on the menu, we're not going to Ruth Chris.
But those are different products.
And this is a different product. Italian ice is different. If it's how much have we talked about? If it's 100 degrees out, dairy products are going to make you sweat and feel uncomfortable. Now, no matter what the fat content is, you got to give some variety. It doesn't mean anymore. We used to do, sundaes through the wazoo and banana splits. I wouldn't consider doing those. They're too labor intensive and they cost too much. But you give variety to the people, a limited variety. I agree with Rod. He said 2 flavors. I've only had one person, and I've been promoting Dairyfree when nobody ever even heard of it. I've been talking about this for 3.5 years now. And the only person who ever called up and complained was a guy who called up and he said, boy, that's the last time I ever listened to you about the Dairyfree. I go, why? It didn't sell? Oh, no, they stormed the building. I should have put in 4 flavors instead of 2. And I said, well, good for you. But I'm with Rod. I'd have 2 flavors, and I would rotate out, or maybe I'd have 4. I wouldn't go above 4. And I would rotate out the flavors. You need reason to get on social media. Even us old goats can learn new stuff. And social media is unbelievable. We used to put it a different way. Rod was out there like me, driving around his area, selling his products.
Working for Daddy.
And you go in and you sell the Bavarian base to someone and they think you're great. You're a hero, you're wonderful. Now what do? How do I get back in to sell them something else 2 weeks from now? I need to come up with a different product. So I come up with a different product and I'm back. You already like me. You already buy from me. So now as a salesman, I can sell you another product. You've got 2 flavors of Dairyfree. They love it. Let's say it's vanilla and coffee. Why not change it out? Why not change out the vanilla for mint chip? Or for avocado. I'm going to change things up a little bit after lunch. We're going to make a lavender ice cream. I've never had lavender ice cream, but I'm the one in the group who experiments, and I make some of the worst ice cream in the world.
The reality is, you are very rarely going to find a store that only serves one type of frozen dessert. You have to have products that's going to draw the masses. One product is not going to draw everybody. Grandma may not come in. That means the whole family's not going to come in because she's not eating ice cream.
But don't get me wrong, Jeff's
The
not
kids
wrong
won't
for
come
his.
in because they want blue raspberry.
He's not wrong for his market.
Jeff's not wrong.
But
in his
for
market.
many markets, most markets, he is. Yes.
Jeff, when you first started, okay, how many total flavors did you have when you opened up first?
6. Well, 1 when I...
Well, I know that, but I mean, basically, when you got started, you had...
Well, I
6 or less.
had 1 flavor for the first week, 10 days.
Okay.
Then I went to 6.
Okay. So, and how long did you stay with 6?
till I got the bigger machine.
Okay, so, I mean,
maybe
basically,
almost a year.
don't start out with 32 flavors, start out with 6.
Oh, those days are gone. I don't go above 15 flavors because all you end up with is a bunch. You end up with a bunch of old ladies. Excuse me, old ladies. You end up with a bunch of old ladies going, "I can't decide which flavor I want."
I agree, Steve, absolutely. And, I had a snow cone stand for 15 years. And, I mean, I was notoriously busy. I was international. I had one in Cozumel for 5. And I had a limited flavors. Now, 2 blocks down the street was another one that had been there 25 years before I started. And we blew them away. And they had 100 flavors, and I had maybe 20. Okay?
Yeah, but you had pickle.
That's right. Again, maybe with the ice, not the ice cream, but the ice, it may not work. I don't know. But I'm just telling you, I didn't do that because I wanted it. I did that because it was asked for. But nonetheless, I still had these, basic, 20 flavors because everything else was just more work. So, y'all might take that, when you start out, don't try to have 100 flavors. Just start out with, because he's definitely successful.
And I'm not opposed to different products. Just if I were in her shoes, let's rephrase. Her thinking, you want Italian ices, right?
Yes.
Then open up an Italian ice store and be great at it. You can't serve all masters. You can't have sugar-free, dairy-free. I mean, he says you can.
You can't have sugar-free.
You can't have sugar-free. You can't have dairy-free. You can't have lactose-intolerant people. You can't have diabetics, pre-diabetics. You can't serve all these people. You can't have ice cream, Italian ices, cream ice, gelato. Why? Why? You're only going to... First, you need dedicated freezers and facilities for all different products. And then...
Not if you use stabilizer.
And then... all right, I know. And then...
It's all going to depend on your individual market. You might put in dairy-free and nobody walks through the door, so guess what? You take out dairy-free. We have a question towards the front here we're going to take.
I have a few questions. I've been writing them down since everyone wants to talk about pickles.
Okay. By the way, on the pickles, I'm never going to make fun of that again. With your sales, I can't believe it.
So you are pitching a product, but you never actually pitched it. Where can I get it? How much does it cost? You're talking about the dairy-free.
I use, it's spelled M-A-M-I-S, which she pronounces Mommy's. It's Italian for mother. M-A-M-I-S, gelato, G-E-L-A-T-O.com. It also goes under the name of Froconut, F-R-O-C-O-N-U-T.com. Froconut.com. Now, just to prove I'm an equal opportunity insulter, Naomi Posner makes this coconut-based product. It's fabulous. I absolutely love it. I spent a year and a half formulating my own, and they always came out icy. This product is great right out of the bag. Everything in here is vegan. The ingredients are vegan, cane sugar, non-GMO coconut, glucose, modified food starch. That's a preservative. Salt is a preservative. Cellulose gum, xanthan gum, tapioca, and that's it. No allergens, no nothing in here. She also makes other people make products out of almond and out of cashew. And I personally don't like either one. I don't like the taste of them. But I'm not a big coconut fan, but I am of this product. Now, I have videos, tons of videos about dairy-free at my website with the formulas. It's really pretty simple. 1 pound of powder to 1 quart of water. You can't get any easier than that. A pound of powder to a quart of water. I can make any flavor on earth in ice cream. I can do it in dairy-free with one exception, that's vanilla. And for some reason, the coconut and the vanilla are fighting for world dominance and neither one wins. So I just don't make vanilla. But I make a killer coffee, dairy-free. I make an unbelievable mint chip coffee-free. I can make strawberry coffee-free, dairy-free. It's great stuff for your market, if that's your market. We'll find out. You'll find out within a few days of opening.
I still have more questions.
Okay, good.
I have 3 more questions, I promise.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Is that similar to a Dole Whip?
I don't even know what's in Dole Whip. That stuff just looks horrible to me. I wouldn't touch Dole Whip.
All right. 3rd question. That's for you. What is the difference between an ice base and a flavor? Because you market both, and some are different flavors.
So, yeah, so I rice Italian ice bases are made with fruit juice, fruit puree, fruits, could be dairy solids. We make a salty caramel, for example, or cocoa solids. So a flavor is just the flavor system.
Yeah.
So we'll take.
Yeah.
One of my employees played.
You would. So there's different formulations. So we'll take maybe, let's say, an orange emulsion flavor, and add that to our orange cream base. Okay, so we make emulsions, but we'll take the finished product and add that to get the flavor system along with orange juice, so you get a better quality product using an ice base as opposed to just adding a flavor.
He has an orange fetish, and the reason is, if you remember, his last name is Oranger. Now you'll never forget it. You have one more question.
I do. Does an Italian ice?
No, that was a statement. You have one more question.
Okay, got it. Well, does water make a difference? Meaning, there's like with pizza.
I'll take that one. I love that one.
With tap water, Zephyr Hills water, Nestle water.
I love that question. Water does make a difference if you're here in Florida, because the worst water on planet Earth is in Florida. It's all filtered through coral, and it's got a mineral content that it's like drinking liquid stone. Now, let's say I open up an Italian ice business here in Brooksville, Florida. There are no tourists. You're the only people from outside of our neighborhood that have come to Brooksville, and I guarantee you'll never come back again, because it's just not on the beaten path. We're not a tourist attraction except for Jeff and me. So you're not going to come back. I'm opening up in Brooksville. These people grew up on the water. They don't know it's bad because they've been drinking it since birth, and it's wonderful. So I don't need to filter my water if I'm in Brooksville, Florida. I go down to Miami, and Miami is just wall-to-wall us obnoxious New Yorkers, where we have the greatest water on earth in New York. The filtration system starts up in the Kensico Dam, about 25 miles of New York, and there's this big, heavy screen that catches the bodies and other debris as the water comes south. And from there, it ends up in your tap, and it's absolutely delicious. So if I'm in Miami, I've got to filter the water to get all that mineral out.
Blood.
And you can do it in the blood and the guts and everything else. You can do it with a water softener system, a Culligan water softener system. I've known pizza parlors, because yes, it's true. We're all convinced you can't make pizza or bagels without New York water. I mean, if you're in Chicago, forget about it. They don't know what they're doing. No offense to anybody from Chicago, but it's the truth. I'm sorry.
We got the best water in Chicago.
Oh, you got the best food. I'll tell you that. You got better food than New York. So you don't need to filter the water depending on your market. And probably something pretty simple. You're not going to need a big reverse osmosis system, to give water to the space station on the moon. Yes?
Is there any concern with calcium buildup if you're using hard water?
No, because on the water-cooled machines, the valves that we use, which are everything's made in the USA, they just don't clog. I don't see, you have to go 30 or 40 years before we even think about replacing a valve. If you did have the 1 in 10,000 valve that went bad, the good news is it would just stay open. So you'd still be able to make ice cream. You'd just have to shut the faucet off at the end of the day until you get the valve replaced. But no, it's not like your dishwasher. Your dishwasher is using a very, very small, almost like a capillary line to feed it water, and they can clog after 5 years here in Florida. But on these big machines, no. Yes?
We're looking into doing some infused with liquor. Is there any cautions we should take with that?
Don't eat it all day long. Jeff's the man. He doesn't do that after lunch.
Ice cream.
You're not talking?
Yes, you want to know if you need a liquor license.
Well, we know we have to have a liquor license in Chicago, but the question I had, is there any cautions we should know about other than...
As far as making it?
Somebody, huh?
As far as making it?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, the machine will get colder, and the door will freeze the outside. You'll see it when we do it. The outside of the door will get a nice cake of ice on it, but you can't hurt the machine.
These are the only machines that you can pour alcohol into and still have it freeze.
And let it run for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it will never freeze. I mean, the freezing point of alcohol is somewhere around 200, minus 279 or 249. It will only be in suspension. But our machines have enough power to do it. Other machines on the market, you have to add the alcohol as it's coming out, and that ruins the ice cream. The other thing is, whatever cabinet you're serving it in, depending on the alcohol content, you might want to put it in one of the corners of the box because they get more refrigeration. Instead of just the front of the box, it's now going around a corner. And I do that with my other ice creams. If I was using a dipping cabinet, if I had a store, I would put my high sugar contents in the four corners, and I'd put my vanilla and coffee in the center. Because even though the box says 6
You can all
degrees,
tell him you already know that because someone already told you that.
Okay, then I'm repeating himself.
Now, do you actually need a liquor license? Because I was under the impression, at least in the state of Florida, since it's an edible, not a drinkable, it's not.
Oh, you
considered
gotta have a liquor
beverage.
license, I've run that one.
No, you don't.
If it's above 5%.
Now, can I tell an urban
Otherwise,
legend story
fair
about
one.
you?
Go ahead.
I heard an urban legend story about Jeff, and if it's not true, don't tell me because you'll break my heart. That the liquor authority came in and discussed this liquor license business, and they looked at his business and they studied his business and said, well, okay, you make bourbon vanilla ice cream, you put bourbon in your vanilla, and you serve it in a dish and you hand it to people, and we don't have a problem with that. But if you take that bourbon vanilla ice cream and put it into a Ninja blender and put in other ingredients and turn it into a milkshake, that's a mixed drink and we're not going to let you do it.
Yeah, it's a difference between
Now, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, but I'll take it. Urban legend?
Actually, we had this in class, right, this week. And who did the research on it? He did, right? And he's gone.
No.
You did.
Yeah, well, I wrote off to the Texas.
Right. He wrote, he's in Texas, and he wrote the Texas Liquor Board,
TABC.
Bureau of Alcohol and Tobacco.
TABC, Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
I didn't notice his hand up your ass moving his lips. I thought I was right, it was
Correct.
right. And you asked them if you need a liquor license. Now, they came back with a 2-paragraph, and that's important that there were 2 paragraphs.
Just read it so you.
Okay, 2 paragraphs. And after he read it, he said, damn, I need a liquor license. And then I read it, and I pointed out that you don't. So what's the question? And by the way, he opened up a can of worms like you can't believe, but anyway, his picture's now in every office in Texas.
I didn't say it from like my
Right.
regular email.
Go ahead.
So basically, I asked the question. Well, my question was, I'm trying to find out how TABC would interpret using alcohol as an ingredient in making foods, specifically in the manufacturing of the sale of ice cream. If the end result following is ice cream following a recipe where liquor is one of the ingredients and put into a commercial batch ice cream machine with the gallon of ice cream I made to serve to the public.
And here's their answer.
Okay. The answer to that was, in certain cases, alcohol-infused food.
Bro, slow down. You got all these people want to hear the answer to this.
In certain cases, alcohol-infused foods are considered beverages for the purpose of regulation. Alcohol-infused ice cream falls into this category since it could conceivably be melted and consumed as a beverage. In other cases, such as when alcohol is used in the manufacturing of pastries or other foods, the resulting product is not considered a beverage and would not fall under TABC regulation.
Right, so in a sense, they're saying what Steve said. If you make a milkshake, you can't do it. But if you serve it as ice cream, you can, which is total BS. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's the same, you're downing the same thing.
But we'll take it.
But we'll take it. So, yes, sir.
Yeah, but you know, in Chicago, they call that an incidental liquor license. So incidentally, the guy that's making it as a shake can't use it, but the guy that's making it as ice cream can. So there's a difference between the two, and now they allow that in Chicago.
Yeah. You know, common sense doesn't really float in the office there of these people. But if you think about it, as long as it's an ingredient in your final product, now you can't pour. You can't pour it on top of your ice cream. Right. You're not even supposed to have pourable bottles. who knows what a portable bottle is. I guess those spouts on top, because it's an ingredient. On your shelf, it's just like having a bottle of Tyranny or some chocolate syrup or whatever, and as long as you restrict it to use like that, you're fine. And this difference between hard ice cream in a bowl and a milkshake in a glass is totally ridiculous. It flies in the face of sanity.
That's PABC, though.
We're going to break for lunch. Just a couple of quick parting comments about health departments. One is, in New York, our attitude is it's better to beg for forgiveness than ask for permission.
Absolutely, everywhere.
It may be 10 years before they find out that you're putting liquor in the ice cream.
Absolutely.
And the other is what you just did with that phone, and your picture is now up in every place on earth.
Right.
What you want to do is, let's say San Diego. If you're in San Diego and you want to open an ice cream parlor, don't ask your local health department guy the question, because you're going to be locked into it.
Right.
Call up to Fresno or wherever Seattle, whatever their headquarters is, I don't know, and ask them.
Disguise your voice.
You don't have to disguise it. Just call, 1,000 miles away, 500 miles away, in another part of the state. Ask the same question. Interrogate them. Do all the things to not, get them angry at you that you might want to do. And then you could go back to your guy before you even ask the question and say, well, I talked to Fresno and they said at headquarters, where your paycheck comes from, and they, say that. And this is what they recommend. Now, we're going to have lunch. Before you do, if you'd come up, I want you to try some of this dairy-free. I made pumpkin at Christmas. Even if you don't like pumpkin, you'll be surprised by the flavor. It's just got cans of pumpkin pie in it and a little sugar. And I want you to just see what the dairy-free is like if it isn't interesting to you. And